Today's video is all about the first pick for the Detroit Lions in the 2025 NFL Draft. In this video, we're going to go over 15 players that the Lions could look to select with the 28th pick. Now, some of these players, though, it could be a trade-up or a trade-down scenario. Why is that? Because that's what Brad Holmes does in the draft. He does a lot of trades, so we're going to get into that. We're going to get into the players who I don't think the Lions could even look to target. That's what this video is all about. Before we get into today's video, though, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Why is that? We're 6 subscribers away from 85,200. If you're one of those 6, smash that sub button. Let's get to it right now. Before we get into the players who I think the Lions will target, let's get into players who the Lions are not going to get. Calvin Banks Jr., Mikael Williams, Ashton Gentry, Will Johnson, Mason Graham, Abdul Card, Travis Hunter. Any of the guys really close in the NFL draft, top 10 picks, it's unrealistic. The Lions will go for them, obviously, in positional value. We don't really need to explain why. Extremely unrealistic. So let's go jump in to the players who I think the Lions could look to target with the 28th pick, and one being offensive lineman Tyler Booker from Alabama. We already know that the Lions love Alabama here and players out there, and the offensive line could be a need for them because he could play guard. He's 6'5", 321 pounds, junior. He has devastating power on blocks, consistently creating vertical displacements, elite arm length, and interior player. He weaponized effectively. He shows exceptional awareness and stuns and twists. And I think if you were to put him on this offensive line immediately, the Lions are a better football team. You got to remember, folks, that Zeitler did not come back. He went to the Titans. Now, I think we're perfectly fine with the offensive line that we have now, in theory, but Graham Glasgow didn't play well last year, and so maybe the Lions want to beef up on the offensive line, and he could be a guy to get it done. Again, let's get to 85,200 subscribers. We are 6 away from that goal. Let's get with the 15th player here. I got Derrick Harmon, defensive tackle from Oregon, and you're going to see a lot of defensive tackles on this list. Why is that? Because we need help. When you look at Derrick Harmon here, he's 6'4", 313 pounds, junior. He ran a 4.95. He's got a lot of positives to his game. He displays thunderous hands, enables him move consistently with leverage, natural power player who brings elite power, developed and devastating, good at stopping the run. And he can actually get after the quarterback with 27 solo tackles, 5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. Obviously, no interceptions here. Harmon could be a guy the Lions look to build upon that defensive line. The 13th player up on my list here is Tyleik Williams out of Ohio State, another strong defensive lineman. And again, you can't have enough of the defensive lineman. He is 6'3", 334 pounds. Senior, ran a 4.68. What did he do this past season? Again, great stop of the run, 16 solo tackles, 2.5 sacks, 0 forced fumbles, 0 receptions. A good role. I think he'd be a look him. If you want to go him or Derrick, I think you're perfectly fine. That would be a solid pick with the 28th pick. Look, he brings the kind of raw power that shows up in his weight room. He shows advanced hand usage. He maintains exceptional balance throughout contact. He displays impressive lateral agility. He brings legitimate scheme versatility. And I think that's something that Shep could utilize on that defensive line. We know how they like that here in Detroit. They love versatility. Number 12 player on my list. How we're going to go with Donovan Ezeiruaku. Yeah, right. I destroyed his name. Why is that? Because it's going to be hard to learn some of these names. Who is he? He is a pass rusher from Boston College. 6'2", 248 pounds. He's a little bit lighter, so I think this is more on the outer limits for the Lions going after him, even though he's fast and all that, but he's lighter. So I think this is one of those, probably not, but he's a masterful technician who strings together great pass rushing moves, natural bend and ankle, explosive first step paired with a quick skills, uses length, exceptional high power processing speed. He's got a relentless motor. That's where I identified him a lot with the Dan Campbell. He's got the ability to pass rush on multiple facets of his game. He's got a ton of sacks at 16.5 sacks, 37 solo tackles, 3 forced fumbles, and 0 interceptions. Again, I just don't know if this is the type of player that they're going to go with. We want our pass rushers. This one seems a little bit out of the realm of possibility. And now a player who I really would love for the Lions to get, that is Mike Green out of Marshall. I love Mike Green because he is a sack machine, but he's 6'3", again, 251 pounds, a little bit lighter. Even though it's a little bit lighter, he's a sack machine and he's fast. Why is that? Well, you don't just get 17 sacks for no reason. 38 solo tackles, 3 forced fumbles, 0 interceptions. He is a man's man on this defensive line. He is fast and fast. If you paired him up with Aiden Hutchinson, you're making me really, really happy. And I think this would be an absolute solid pick. Now, you may have to trade up to get him, but this is a solid pick. Subscribe, folks. Again, 6 away from that magical number of 85,200. If you can do me a solid and subscribe, it would be magnificent to go ahead and jump into that range. Next player, number 10 on here, is Walter Nolan. Yes, the defensive tackle here out of Ole Miss. Now, you're saying, why are we doing all these defensive tackles? Because that may be exactly where they're going to go, too. It may not be an edge, right? It could be a player who, let's keep it a buck, could be on that interior. 6'4", 296 pounds. He could play on the inside and outside. That's what brings him versatility. The Lions love that, right? He's just pretty fast at 4.95. I love what this guy does. He's explosive first step snap, and that's what we love. Really fast off there, natural leverage, displays impressive agility, master of using his compact frame, and he is relentless. Relentless is what he likes. But the problem is here, he's 6.5 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, 26 solo tackles. Even though he could play on the interior, you'd like to see a little bit more sack coverage there. But he is on the list for the Detroit Lions. Next here, we're going to go with offensive guard Gray Zabel out of North Dakota State. Again, we need a lineman. Now, he is a tackle, but he can play guard. He is 6'6", 312 pounds, 5'3". He's a plug-and-play. Do I really need to explain everything about these players, especially with the offensive line? Mahogany, we don't know where he's going to play on the offensive line. It could be right or left guard. And I just don't trust Graham Glasgow. This guy's got elite processing speed. He brings heavyweight fighter. He's got a natural combo over blocker. Displays exceptional leverage again. Shows impressive mobility. And he's versatility on this offensive line. You can get him in multiple spots. He'd be a solid pick at 28. Next player on my list is Donovan Jackson. Again, offensive guard out of Ohio. Another big body guy. He's versatile. He can play tackle, but he primarily be guard at 6'4" here. Senior, he's 5'2". Everything that you need. I don't really need to consistently go on with these guards because we know he's a plug-and-play player. Will he be there? Don't know. Number 7 player on my list, and I think it's now less of a possibility, but I'm going to put him on here, Jahad Campbell here, out of Alabama, 6'3", 4'2". He runs a 40. He's extremely fast. 235 pounds. That's the problem there. Linebacker. The reason I don't have him now going to Detroit, we picked up Derrick Barnes, and we picked up another linebacker from the Colts here, so it doesn't really make a lot of sense. But Shep does love his linebackers, and he is near that selection, but I'm going to put this on less likely now. But he's got 55 solo tackles, 5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, and 1 interception. He's fast, speed, power. He's the Isaiah Simmons. He can play safety, linebacker, rush the passer, backup. He is a dual type of player, and I don't think that the Lions will take him now because we already signed our Sam and Derrick Barnes. Number 6 player, this would be a trade back scenario, and we're talking Jack Sawyer, pass rusher from the Ohio State Bucks. Edge, 6'4", runs a 4.6. This would be a second-round pick. I think this would be trade out of the first-round selection. But he is Detroit Lions through and through. 25 solo tackles, 9 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, 1 interceptions. I got to keep this a buck. I think the Lions are drafting this player if he is available, potentially in a trade back. He is a never give up. He is going to consistently rush the passer. When I think of Jack Sawyer, I definitely think of a Detroit Lion. I think of a guy that the Lions are going to pick with that select. But what do you guys think? Would you pick Jack Sawyer? Would you trade back and get him? Let me know your thoughts in the comments right now. Number 5 player on my list, we're going to go with Shermer Stewart, pass rusher. The Lions going to have to trade up and get him if you want to get the 6'5", 267 product out of Texas A&M. I would love for the Lions to get him. This would be ideal, right? But injury issues, right? Issues that go on with Shermer, but to be trade up, probably not going to happen. I mean, you never know, right? 14 solo tackles, 1.5 sacks, 1 forced fumble. He is an athletic freak. He is the size that the Lions want. Trade-up scenario, less likely again there. Number 4 here is Braden Swinson. Love him out of LSU. Why is that? Because he can rush the passer. He's a little bit lighter. But that's okay. What does he do that's good? He's devastating inside counter move, and it catches tackles off guard. His length and closing burst creates consistent pocket disruption, even with initial contact, right? He's got natural feel for rushing the angles. He understands how to use alignment and get the tackles, leaning before attacking their weakness. He's got 31 solo, 8.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 0 interceptions. He is a Lion that potentially could be up there coming up for Detroit. Next player on my list is Landon Jackson, pass rusher from Arkansas, 6'6", 264. Right, he is a Lion through and through. He ran a 4.6, 6.5 sacks, 1 forced fumble, 0 interceptions, 28 solo tackles. He is an option for Detroit. There's no doubt about it. I think this is going to be a fan favorite here. You're going to go Kenneth Grant, number 2 from Michigan. A lot of people like Kenneth Grant. Big body, stop the run, 331, 6'4", 4.95. And he can get after the passer when he's stopping the run. They love stopping the run, so this was a legit option for Detroit. 18 solo tackles, 3 sacks, 0 forced fumbles, 0 interceptions. The defensive line is getting better. Number 1 here, Nic Scourton, a real option for Detroit at 28. This would be a sit at 28 pick. 257, 6'3", junior, ran a 4.7. What did he do this year? 27 tackles, 5 sacks. He has 1 forced fumble, 0 interceptions. This could be the name that we hear on game day. You're seeing a lot of people throw him in mock drafts because he's got a great spin move, right? He lost weight. He can gain weight. He was at 285, so you know he can go up and down. He brings the thunder and power. He's got good on special teams as well, even though you probably want to see it. And never-ending motor, i.e. Dan Campbell. Anything that goes never-ending motor is Dan Campbell. So what do you think about those thoughts, about those players for the Lions here? Nic Scourton, he's probably up there as one of the tops, but let me know your thoughts in the comments. With that said, folks, adios.